In this video, we're going to look at the text and dimension tools. To begin with, when we start a new drawing using the architectural imperial, we'll want to make sure that the units for our drawing are set to the proper rounding value. So application menu, drawing utilities, units. We're going to set our units to 1/32 of an inch. So AutoCAD can draw things more accurately than 1/32 when we arbitrarily pick points on the screen, for example. However, the measure tool and the dimension tools will not be able to show anything more accurate than 1/32. We're going to be using 3/32 of an inch text, so we want this to be at least 1/32 precision rather than 1/16, which is the default. We'll select OK. The next thing we'll do is go to the Annotate tab, and in the Text panel, we'll click the Text Style icon here in the lower right. This shows us that we have two text styles, Roman and Standard. Roman is set to a font called Roman-S.SHX, and right now we notice that the text style is not annotative. This is a feature we're going to want to use in AutoCAD to make sure the text is always the correct size. So we check annotative, and then we're going to set the paper text height to 3/32 of an inch. We'll click Apply and then Close. The next thing we're going to want to do is make sure that the scale is set correctly for our intended plot scale. So in the lower right on the status bar, we click the annotative scale flyout, and then we'll pick our scale that we intend to plot this drawing at. We can change this later if we realize our scale is too big or small to fit on the sheet. For now, we'll try 1/4 inch. The important thing to know is that when we change the scale, all the text and dimensions in the drawing will automatically change to the correct size when we have our text style and our dimension style set up to use annotative. So we're going to go ahead and select the text command. We notice that our current style for any text we're about to create is set to Roman rather than Standard. And then we see the little architectural scale, the end view here, which indicates that annotative scaling has been enabled. So I'm going to select the multi-line text option. And then I'm going to pick 2 points on the screen to create a rectangular area. The most important part is how wide this rectangle is. AutoCAD will add additional rows as needed and will never actually hide text. So the width of the rectangle defines the return. When a word no longer fits within that rectangle, it'll move that word to the next line, similar to a word processing program. So go ahead and click, and then I can start typing. When I'm done typing, I need to click the Close Text Editor on the ribbon. When I select this text after it's been created, I can adjust this grip on the right to change the width of the text. So you can see how the text automatically adjusts to add more rows or less rows. I could stretch this so far that it only requires 1 row. So this is helpful when you're adding notes and the drawings continues to change and you need to massage the notes so they fit in the drawing. We can press Escape to unselect that text. If we ever need to edit this text again, we simply hover so it's highlighted and then double click on the text. Now we can click in here and continue to add additional text, or we can highlight text and then use some of the features on the ribbon to, let's say, underline the text. If you're using Windows fonts for the text, you can use the bold and italics option. This font that we're using here is purely AutoCAD text and can't be used in other programs. This text editor will also find spelling errors for us, similar to, say, Microsoft Word. So if I do the space bar So I added one extra O in the word good. If I right click on that, I'll see options, so I'm going to select the correct spelling. I don't ever want to hit enter in this dialog box because that will force AutoCAD to always make that a new line. So if I were to hit enter after this word AutoCAD and then select close text editor and then adjust this, no matter what, the word this will always be on a new line. Now sometimes that might be what you want, but most of the time you shouldn't actually press enter. If I want to get rid of that enter, I can click right before the word this and do a backspace, and then just simply do a space rather than an enter. Close text editor, and now I could stretch this to be one line. Hit escape. Alright, now we're going to take a quick look at dimensions. We'll show how we can change the scale in just a minute, but first thing we need to do is set up our dimension style. So in the dimensions panel, I'm going to click the dimension style option. There's only one style in this drawing called standard. This comes from the template that we started from. I'm going to click to modify this dimension style, and I'll change just a few things here. Architectural, the precision for the dimensions can be different than for the drawing, so we can change this to be 1/16 inch equals a foot or something more accurate. We don't want to suppress 0 inches. We do always want to see 0 inches. So 1 foot 0 inches. If 0 inches is checked, you would just see 1 foot and not a dash 0 inches. On the Fit tab here, we're going to want to check annotative. So this is the same thing we did for the text style. When we do this, the rest of this area grays out because all the sizes that are defined in this dialog box will be controlled by the annotative scaling system. That includes the text height, which in this case we want to set to 3/32, just like our notes. The arrows can also have a size specified. Let's make that 3/32 as well. And so all of these values here are going to be scaled by the annotative system, so that drawings of different plot scales on the same sheet, once it's printed out and in front of you on a table, all the text and dimensions for all the different scale drawings that might be on the same sheet are all going to appear the same on the printed piece of paper. So we'll select OK and close. There's a few other options there that we typically adjust, but for this quick example, we mainly wanted to make sure that it was set to architectural and annotative was enabled. So now next to standard, similar to what we saw for the text, there's an annotative symbol. We can click the dimension command, and then we pick 2 points that we want to dimension between, and then our third pick is where we want the dimension line to go. So we can add a couple other dimensions, so we'll pick 2 points with that same command vertically, and that makes a vertical dimension. And then there's the aligned option if I wanted to dimension the distance at an angle. So with all these dimensions and the one text example, if for some reason this drawing needed to become 1/8 inch equals a foot, it was too big for a sheet, so we needed to reduce the scale. When I click 1/8 inch equals a foot from the annotative scale list, we see that all the text automatically got bigger. And so that's a quick basic introduction to using text and dimensions in AutoCAD.